definitely obvious that this exact structure is not working that well for us. We're gonna try to rework it.
There is actually less structure in this in New York, and it's kind of there's less structure.
My proposal on a place to go, I do have a proposal.
Okay, let's hear it. That's what we need.
There is a building that is out of commission right by Pritchard Park. I noticed last night when we were looking for places with an overhang, it's got a really nice, efficient overhang too. It's on a sidewalk, so that's public property. And two, it doesn't shut down because there's nothing inside that building.
Point of clarification, whatever you want to go.
This is where we could move to if we need to. Okay. So it's legal, it's close to here, and we could all fit.
Yeah, it's right by.
Okay, can we consent to having that as our place to move to?
Direct response.
Whoa! That one place right by the wine place right there?
Yeah.
That is actually, we got moved out of there when it started raining because it does happen. It is also the whole building. It has no soliciting, no loitering, and something's fine right there. So that is not.
Okay, so we can't move there.
Okay.
I think we should move somewhere where we can stay there the whole time, and we can stay there as long as we want. Because if we don't, we can't have that much time to go off to keep moving and stuff, and we can't finish what we have to do. So I think we should move somewhere that we can stay as long as we want.
Okay, do you have an idea for where we could move? Okay. Alright, ideas for where we could move, because it seems obvious that this is going to go past 10.
Okay, two suggestions. One, that we just continue with the meeting here. We're not trying to camp. We're staying after 10 o'clock. We'll be sort of testing the police. They have to come ask us. They may not even notice us over here.
Yeah.
Two, if we're going to move somewhere where we can't move on, if it's determined that we don't want to continue this meeting here, I suggest that we move down to the Lexington Avenue area, although it's going to be a little loud down there.
Okay, we have,
Second that. I second what he just said. I was going to suggest the same thing.
Zach, you do.
We're clear.
Okay, I just wanted to...
Sir?
Rosetta, she's helping feed people. Do you don't think we could fit in there?
Oh, come on. You're new to the
Can
town.
I comment on, I just want to explain to everyone, make sure you understand how this process of the permit happened. We approached, I think Rosetta actually started it, but it was that we told them we had a First Amendment right to do this, and the APD has a lot of brutality in it. This is stacked. And I need to explain this to people. And so we decided early on, remember, that we would go to them and ask for a safe and secure place so we could prevent police brutality. And they agreed that we had the First Amendment right to do this. This was not them just trying to placate us, people.
I have a direct response to just that right there. Rosetta specifically said that hers had nothing to do with this specific issue, and that she was being, as a business person, going around to different businesses just to get businesses to show that our community in Asheville supports what we're doing. And number two, if they didn't want to harm us and stuff, at City Hall that night, they wouldn't have sent the worst cops that they have in the city. They sent all the assholes, the big meanies that I personally know that harm people, that throw people on the ground. And they sent them all to intimidate us. Because we know cops that they work with us very well and that are very nice. They didn't send us.
Yeah, okay, we're going to hear one more proposal, and then I'm going to just close the floor for proposals, because we've got the important ones, whether we go to Lexington, whether we don't. That's really what needs to be decided on right now.
Did we ever see any legal documents that night? No, we didn't, and I personally requested from them, and they still have not emailed me any documentation on it.
Okay, so I think we might have a proposal that will help tie this all together. If y'all just give me a moment.
No, you need a document that says that is not city property.
So, and I'm probably a person that has the greatest doubt about Lexington, which I just voiced earlier. So, I propose that Occupy Asheville publicly states that we are occupying multiple locations.
For now.
Blanket, multiple locations. We are occupying multiple locations that we choose. Some are granted from the city, some are not. And so that we cannot get boxed into good protester, bad protester dichotomies, and that when we do take direct action in certain places to try to hold space, that is also a part of our strategy to hold multiple locations within the city.
Okay, so we've got, thank you. We've got several proposals. We had one that we do both, and I think that would be echoed by what Naomi just said about that we occupy multiple locations and that we have that be our statement.
We have a concern about, I think we're just going over a lot of the same things. He made a statement that we need to make sure that we're not consenting to something that might be illegal, so we can let other groups do things, but we're not having orders. What he just said implies that Occupy Asheville would be endorsing all these actions, some of which may not be legal.
Someone want to address that so I don't have to?
Direct response.
Well, the proposal that I put forth, it specifically addresses the two main strategies that the police use in order to get rid of movement. And so that's why I said it that way, because it directly addresses the strategies that the police will use to try to divide us to get rid of us.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify. I believe what her proposal was making a statement, which is different, in the sense of where we're going with that is that it's already been stated, it's already been agreed that this movement can be in several different places doing different things concurrently. So we don't need to consent to anything other than that. But she was saying, making a statement to that effect. That the statement would say, we're going to be seen as occupying that part of Lexington, but the statement will say we are elsewhere.
Thank you. Go to the edible garden. It's a neutral territory, and everybody can be around. The edible garden. I don't know. Right there. You want to speak up? My name is Trinidad. I propose we just go to the edible garden. It's just right there.
Okay. Does the meeting run out of time? And you say, Trinidad, you say when we run out of time, we move over there. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we really need to make a decision on these proposals that we have here.
There is some data that needs to be cleared up. Nothing against Naomi, but you did leave early. After you left on the police issue, and it would be on the video, that there was discussion with them about community-oriented policing outlines, which I talked to them directly about, to create a new level of communication and cooperation so this can manage with us. So there is another way than just the two that you described.
And I can have a direct response. Historically, I've heard that exact thing from multiple police in multiple cities, and every single time they broke their promise.
Yes, that's what
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes.
That's history. I'm saying.
Last night or the night before, there's been this thing where we're going to have flexibility in terms of groups and where we can use, and I don't know why we're voting on all this and why we're not just going forward with what we said with that, and this feels very heavy and boxed in and bureaucratic, and it needs to be free, and people can do what they want to do. The more we talk about this, the more rancor. It's almost like the rancor is bringing it together, so people have to keep bringing the voice back to town that we disagree, and I think we're just dragging this process through anger, and I just want to let it go.
Let it go, right? Hold on. Consensus.
So do we want to just try to
Yes,
to
do
reach
it.
consensus
Yes.
occupying multiple locations?
Yes.
Not having to action. I don't know about that. I want to agree.
We're going to address that when we do facilitation. That'll get addressed. But for now, we're going with the process as it's been.
Clarification. And part of that proposal is that we use the media to put out that message that we are occupying multiple locations.
Are we good on that?
Oh, come on.
We have to say it.
Why?
To the media, we have to put that out there for the
Thank you, Travis.
That's all we have to answer with your voice.
I'm stepping down from facilitation.
I'm Travis.
All right,
I'm going to fill in as bench facilitator.
So I believe, let's just pick it up right here. I'm going to look for concerns and questions for the proposal to make a statement that we will be occupying multiple locations. Are there concerns or questions? Yes.
Okay, my concern with this is that, first of all, we're fracturing it by acting like it's got to be a matter of consensus. When we've already decided that people are free to do what they want to do and they're free to express in the way that they feel like this is a creative thing, it's experimental, we're working with it. We don't have to explain ourselves to anybody in that. All we say is, like, we operate in such a way that we're like, we're just, you know, like satellites going out and doing our own thing, but we're partnering with each other. We're together in that. We don't have to keep acting or like putting it out there, like explaining why we have to do it.
Direct response right here.
Okay, you're 100% right. Everybody here is an individual. Groups also can come to consensus. When you have groups who are consenting to vote that you're not allowed to have,
You speak out.
talking about the entire Occupy Asheville.
Mr. Mayor?
I wish.
Yes. Our consent, we only need consensus for things that are going to involve everybody here, that everyone needs to be in on, like making a statement to the media for
Does Lexington
Occupy.
involve everybody here, and does this involve everybody here? Because that's
This
like
statement is going to involve the entire Occupy Asheville movement. It's going to involve the entire Occupy Asheville movement because they will group us together. Do you have a direct response?
I did want to say that the idea of us all being able to do our own thing is sort of synonymous with saying that we are able to occupy multiple locations.
Exactly.
Friendly
So,
amendment.
okay, friendly amendment.
So, with this proposal, to kind of like cater to everyone, but also not seem like it's fracturing us, what if we have more of like the base at the Lexington permitted place where people can be safe and have a haven, and then have the multiple locations simultaneously?
That's exactly what's being said here.
Okay.
We will camp at Lexington. Perhaps that's part of a different discussion. The exact proposal is we will make a statement. We are occupying different locations.
I just want to clarify again what Naomi is saying, and correct me if I'm saying it wrong, is just like so that the media doesn't separate us. We're not separating each other. It's that we want them to know that we are not separated, no matter if we're physically not in the same space. We just need the media to know that there's no division between the good people and the bad people. We're all
Is this a concern?
In response to the statement itself, and the purpose of the statement, I think the statement could be more in the form of a letter to the city council. Should we?
Okay, we haven't decided on a way to do it. We just said a statement. Yes. I've been talking to Citizen Time reporter. She's going to be there until 11 o'clock tonight. If we pass this consensus, I can get on the phone with her because she wants to know what we've talked about, what we've decided. So if we decided, I can get on the phone with her right now and tell her that's what we decided. We're concerned?
Yeah, it's a major concern. My thing is, my name is Trinidad, dude. I mean, can you guys hear yourself? Look, we're trying to, like, what's going on is we're starting to divide each other. We should all stick around and stay with each other as a whole.
That's why we're making this statement, that we're all
instead
together.
of occupying, like, away and everything else, we all should be together around this, dude.
Well, the proposal at hand is making the statement that we're occupying.
I'm just hearing a bunch of people just saying, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go over there. No, dude, that's not occupy anything, dude. We got to be together. That's how we get strength in numbers. That's how we are together. I mean, what is the heck is this going on, dude? I mean, you guys, it's crud. We're supposed to be here. One heart, one love, one spot.
That's a great opinion. People cannot be arrested. Certain people can. We're going to make a statement that we're occupying different areas. Is there concern about making this statement? No. Then can we get consensus, please? Any blocks? All right. Good job. That's passed. What's next? We'd like to address this accountability issue. Is Jen around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also like to address the consensus.
Okay. Yes. We'll get there Where'd Naomi go? Right here. Right here. What? Oh, Naomi. Okay. Let's do this accountability issue right now. Let's try to keep it as least personal as possible. And please, can I make a statement as to what I think is my understanding so far, and then I'll open it up to you and Jen. Okay, my understanding is right now, somebody may have gone outside our consensus process of denouncing each other within the group before going outside. We wanted to keep everything in here, and as I've understood, someone may have gone outside behind closed doors to discuss the actions of someone in our group. It's actually, so I regret having...
Hey, let's get some order here!
Thank you.
So I really do regret having to come up here and share these things, but I feel like if we're going to operate as a group, we have to have accountability to each other. So, over the last week or week and a half, there's been several things that have happened involving Jen, and I hate to single her out, but they have, that have been issues of accountability that based on group consensus and on just treating each other in a good way. So I'm just going to run quickly through the list. And I appreciate your patience. Let's go through the list, and then we'll have...
I'd like to respond correctly. Thank you.
So the first is that she's been under the influence of alcohol or other things at or immediately adjacent to our activities. That she's unilaterally negotiated with the city. She's following the city council meeting, and also today, following the city council meeting, I met with her outside right on the lot and asked her to call me the morning after so that we could create a team that would help negotiate, and that didn't happen. And then she sent a letter to the city on her own behalf, representing us. And then today, yesterday she was not a part of our legal group, and then today she was. And when we went into the meeting, when we went up to the city manager's office, she left our group, went into the back of with the city manager, talked about Lexington, and then had a derogatory comment, specifically, whether she mentioned me or not, it was intended about me, about trying to hijack our process, which was completely false. On Facebook, she's said words like hijack and take over in regards to myself and my brother. Today I heard from multiple people that she called me a provocateur. From what I can tell, she's not distributed media to other people, and she's justified that by claiming to be a leader. She's publicly disrespected our General Assembly consensus process on Facebook and said that our consensus doesn't work, that we need leaders, and that she's one of them, and that to justify her unilateral action. She's misrepresented other activist actions today. In particular, the people that were at the city council right before the city council meeting can verify that I did not try to hijack the process today. In fact, I offered to stand aside before going up to the meeting, and I was actually encouraged to go on up and participate, and because I respected our process, and I offered to stand aside. Well, instead, Jen was not willing to listen to what I had to say in that small group, then went up to the city manager's office, went in behind closed doors, and then publicly, when we were all together in the room, she said, in full disclosure, I believe there's people here that are trying to hijack the process, to the city officials and everybody in that meeting. I said one comment and then left. So that directly violates the principles that we passed last night, the modified St. Paul principles. So so I also feel like my understanding from things that people told me was that she unilaterally tabled the Lena indigenous permit that we had, and because, and I don't have the exact words, but it wasn't really real and we didn't have to worry about it. So, I mean, that's really enough. And so the reason I come before y'all with this issue is I don't have anything personal against Jen. What I do is I have a problem with the behavior. Whether you agree with that, whether you like that or not, I don't have anything personal against you. I have a problem with the behavior. And I feel like if we're going to operate as a group, we have to have accountability when people go off and violate our principles. And that's all I have to say.
I'd like to respond to every point of those. There's a lot of misinformation. First of all, regarding any alcohol or drugs, ever since we consented to not coming to events intoxicated, I have not come to an assembly meeting intoxicated. I have had one beer. I think there were people up there with me. I have left the meetings out of complete frustration and gone and got intoxicated. But I have never once been, I followed that guideline, and that's the damn truth. And let me just explain, and I need to respond to these allegations, and I'm not going to be cut off or shut down with this because this is very important. I was put in a position today where I was approached with 10 minutes before the meeting with three people, Naomi and the two other folks, saying they were not going to follow our consensus from the night before.
No, not true.
I would like to respond. There were plenty of things that Naomi said that was also not true, and I would like to speak my truth here, please. I was confronting and saying we're not going to do this. We need an emergency general assembly. There's other concerns. I took a minute to assess what the new information might be. It was only based on, what I was told was this is going to split up the group based on Facebook conversations and whatnot. I went to the meeting today, very clear. I read the minutes from last night. I went in there, every single thing I did today, except for maybe, I was being transparent with the city because I was faced with three people who were trying to sabotage the General Assembly consensus from last night, and I was not going to go into a meeting with city officials and have the complete disaster of this process being in front of the city. So I made a decision at that point, and I did go back in the back with the assistant city manager, and I explained, I said, we reached consensus of this, and here's what our consensus was from last night, and here are our questions, and now I believe we had three people who were directly trying to dishonor the consensus process. I told them the situation. We came back in the meeting, and in transparency, I said, I want y'all to know what we talked about behind closed doors, which we did, because I was not going to let that happen in the city council, in the city meeting. And so, so that went forward, and I feel very strongly. I honored the consensus of the group, and I do not appreciate, and I would actually propose that someone who intentionally tries to thwart the group consensus in such a manner is not part of the group. And if you're asking that I be removed, I would ask that you be removed for not following the consensus of the group. And to follow up on the Lena permit, which I have explained to several people, we met with Bill Allman. Bill Allman gave us the legal advice that it would not be supported by local and state precedent. I tried to contact an international lawyer to follow up. Shortly after that, I reached the conclusion, which I informed the General Assembly, that I had no legal opinion on the validity of the permit. At no time did I intentionally ditch the permit. I don't know. Nobody knows the answer to that permit, okay? And if there's UN precedent, great, go for it. I would love to see that happen. But I was not in a position to give that legal advice, and I did not. As far as the behavior and the outbursts and things, I felt like after, being so personally attacked, a lot of misinformation, I was never on a 3-day drug or any of that crap. I think it's personal attacks. You sabotage this movement, whether it is paid provocateurs or other interests. And but after we had the General Assembly last night, where we did the nonviolence guidelines, I thought restored, and I myself have made a commitment to stop, being emotional and cursing and all that stuff. And so that has already, happened. And I really firmly reject pretty much what Naomi is characterizing me as, and I'm an honest person. I think there's a lot to do with the resentment against lawyers, jealousy. There are leaders in this movement. We talked about this at the very beginning, and I have put myself way above and beyond to do this work, to guide this to be a safe and peaceful First Amendment assembly, and I stand by everything I have done except for speaking out of order at the meeting with the bullhorn, and I did what I did in that meeting yesterday to protect your consensus.
Okay, I have, one second, we'll open it up for comments and questions. Let me just first say, it's very obvious, both sides are accusing each other of the same thing, of sabotage, of trying to go against the consensus process. I'm going to put out a proposal that we have a mediation group. People, if you'd like to stand up, please do so. Come down here and meet about it. We need to have a mediation group between what's going on here and with Naomi. Also, what needs to be addressed at the same time is the meaning of consensus, because there's one instance where last night we consented upon something. There's also an instance last night we were not in the same area for General Assembly. We are at much lower numbers. So what is consensus? So I'm going to put a proposal out there. Let's open it up for stack. I had a direct response over here.
I was there, so I just have statements about this. Just to reiterate, a lot of the key words that have been used regarding the consensus are change consensus, dishonor consensus, and ditch consensus, among others. We did honor the consensus, but we need some sort of implementation of rehashing on issues.